You wake up in a dimly lit bedroom, cramped into a corset that squeezes your waist tight. It's morning in Victorian England, sometime in the mid-1800s, and you're a woman who's expected to be delicate, polite, and obedient. Nothing more. Your dress is heavy, your hair pinned up and hidden under a bonnet. You shuffle down narrow stairs to begin a day of meeting everyone else's demands. There's a constant reminder that your life revolves around home and family, with little room for personal dreams or independence. If you're middle or upper class, your family might keep you at home, learning to play the piano, embroider, and host tea parties. Perhaps a governess teaches you basic reading, writing, and arithmetic, but you rarely study anything that could lead to real professional skills. A proper lady needs to be charming, well-mannered, and decorative, like a pretty doll in a parlor. If you show too much interest in serious books or bold ideas, people might accuse you of being unfeminine. Society says your greatest achievement is to become a good wife and mother. University or career plans? Those are for men. If you're working class, your life is even tougher. You might labor in a factory, churning out textiles for long, grueling hours under harsh conditions. The factory floor is packed, the air thick with dust, and the machines clatter so loud you can hardly think. Your boss pays you a fraction of what a man earns for doing the exact same job, if you're lucky enough to be hired. Many women end up doing domestic service, cleaning other people's houses, cooking their meals, and nursing their children. You rise before dawn to stoke fires, scrub floors, and wash linens, with hardly any rest until late at night. No matter what class you belong to, marriage isn't just a romantic union. It's more like a turning point that decides your entire future. Once you marry, the law says your husband has control over your property, your earnings, and often your personal freedom. Everything you once owned legally becomes his. If he's cruel or neglectful, you have almost no legal recourse to protect yourself. Divorce is incredibly hard to get, and even if you manage it, you risk losing custody of your children. In the eyes of Victorian society, a woman alone is suspicious, someone to be pitied or shunned. So most endure unhappy marriages because they see no other choice. Then there's the question of voting. You can't, at all. Political decisions, laws, taxes, those are men's domain. Even the rising number of factory acts or social reforms that directly affect your working conditions are debated and decided by men in Parliament. It doesn't matter if you're well-read or have excellent ideas. The system says you don't belong in politics. The rare woman who speaks up for women's rights might be mocked, ridiculed, or dismissed as unnatural. The idea of equal voting rights is so outrageous to many Victorians that they can't even imagine it coming true. Health is another never-ending worry. Childbirth is dangerous, and medical knowledge is limited. Many women die in labor or soon after, leaving their families without a mother. If you survive, you're expected to keep having children, often as many as possible, because large families are seen as a blessing. There's little understanding of hygiene or infection, and doctors often dismiss women's pain as hysteria. Some even think that too much education or excitement could damage a woman's fragile nerves. So you might be told to lie in bed for weeks on end, doing nothing, while your mind races with boredom. Your clothes don't help either. Corsets can make it hard to breathe or digest food properly. Layers of petticoats weigh you down, even in hot weather. If you're poor, you might have only one or two dresses, patched up repeatedly until the fabric nearly falls apart. If you're wealthy, you have fancy gowns, but they come with strict rules. Never show too much ankle, make sure your sleeves are the right length for the time of day, and always wear gloves outside the house. You live under an invisible microscope of judgment. Neighbors, in-laws, and even strangers on the street feel free to comment on your clothes, your manners, or your body. Social gatherings might seem fun. Balls, teas, or concerts, but they're mostly opportunities for wealthy families to show off daughters who are marriageable. You spend hours rehearsing your dance steps and your polite chatter. At a ball, you're herded around a dance floor in a parade of potential matches. Your family invests in expensive dresses and jewels just to make you look more appealing to a suitable husband. If you're shy or awkward, you might get labeled as difficult, and potential suitors disappear. It's not about genuine compatibility, it's about alliances, status, and appearances. If you do manage to marry a good man, your life might be more comfortable, at least physically. But even then, society expects you to be the angel in the house, always kind, gentle, and selfless. You're supposed to soothe your husband's moods, raise children, and keep the house presentable. Having your own opinions or ambitions beyond family life can trigger gossip and ridicule. Some women keep diaries or write letters in secret, pouring out hopes and frustrations they can't share openly. A few daring souls write novels or articles under male pen names to hide their identities, fearing no one would take them seriously as female writers. There's also the ever-present threat of scandal. If you're seen talking too long with a man who isn't your husband or close family, rumors might start. If you're spotted without a chaperone, people might assume you have loose morals. Reputation is everything, and a single misstep, an overheard conversation, a misunderstood note, even wearing the wrong outfit, can ruin you in the eyes of polite society. Once branded with a bad reputation, you might find doors closed to you forever. The law hardly protects you. If you're attacked or harassed, proving it can be nearly impossible. Police might not take your statement seriously, or they might blame you for provoking the situation. Men hold most positions of power, judges, lawyers, jurors, so they make decisions that favor their own. Some women's only defense is to avoid leaving the house without an escort, further limiting their freedom. It's an endless cycle. The fewer rights you have, the more vulnerable you become, and the more you're told you need a man's protection. So why did it suck to be a woman in Victorian England? Because from the moment you were born, society wrapped you in a tight set of rules and expectations. If you were wealthy, you were treated like a fragile ornament meant to please future husbands. If you were poor, you labored endlessly with little reward, earning less than men and living on the edge of survival. Marriage took away your legal rights, politics shut out your voice, and the constant threat of scandal kept you tiptoeing through life. Even your clothing conspired against you, restricting your body and your breathing. Through all of this, you might find small joys, friendships with other women, the beauty of a well-tended garden, the comfort of a good book. But even those joys could be clouded by the knowledge that you had precious few choices. Everything from education to employment to family life depended on men granting you permission. In a world that claimed to value gentleness and moral goodness, you were often treated like property, or at least like a fragile creature unable to handle the roughness of real life. That's why it truly sucked to be a woman in Victorian England. In the shadow of grand manners and polite conversation, you had to fight just to be heard or to keep your dignity. Everything in society told you to stay quiet, pretty, and obedient, no matter what your heart or mind desired. It would take decades of struggle, protests, and slow legal changes to break those chains. But for the everyday Victorian woman, the reality was an existence hemmed in by strict rules, double standards, and very little freedom to shape her own destiny.